Good morning, everyone. Good morning, classmates. Good morning also to our professor, Dr. Helen W. Noel. Let me introduce to you myself. My name is Alexis Jan H. Villahermosa. Currently, I am working here at Holy Cross of Malalag Incorporated. Now, my task this morning is to discuss with you the systematic synthesis of the philosophy of idealism. Now, we have here the metaphysics of idealism. Let's define first what is metaphysics. Metaphysics, that is the branch of philosophy that deals with the first principles of things, including the abstract concepts such as being, knowing, substance, cause, identity, time, and space. Reality, according to idealists, may be described in the following propositions. But we need to answer the first question. Do you even exist, or how do you know that you exist? Okay, let's answer that. For me, I can assume and think for a moment that nothing exists. Not my computer, my chair, my home, my arms, my legs, my whole body, and the whole universe and the existence of God. But one thing that I can't deny, and that is the existence of my thoughts. Later we will know why is it important to know the concept of knowledge in order for us to exist. As the French philosopher and the father of modern philosophy, René Descartes proposed, cogito ergo sum, meaning I think, therefore I am. Number one, the first proposition of idealism is the self is the prime reality of individual experience. Yes, if you are able to think, therefore you exist. This is a philosophical proof of existence based on the fact that someone is capable of any form of thoughts could really exist. It's because if you can think that you exist, therefore you exist. And that's the idea of idealism. I am able to think, therefore I exist. Number two, the ultimate reality is self. It means that you exist because you think you exist. Your mind makes you aware of your consciousness. You don't choose the vanilla flavor ice cream over the strawberry flavored ice cream, but your mind does. Actually, your mind dupes itself into believing that you are different from your mind. Number three, the ultimate reality may be oneself, a community of selves, or a universal self without whom are many individual selves. We have here a question. Could you stop your mind from controlling you? The answer is you couldn't because you are your mind. Number four, fourth proposition, the individual self has all the freedom essential to self-determination. But it does not mean that we have all the freedom to do whatever we please without limit. An individual is part and not the whole of reality. Self-determination might be a more exact term that we use than freedom. Now, let's proceed to the epistemology of idealism. So, the theory of knowledge is basic in any philosophy, which forms the solid foundation of idealism, which is the knowledge. One ideas may be true if it comes from our knowledge. So idealism adds a further reason for the prime significance of knowledge. Number one, once you understand the nature of knowledge then you have the key to the nature of reality. Now let's summarize the idealist epistemology. Idealism and critical realism are alike in their treatment of perception. Idealism holds that the qualities we perceive in the world are rooted in existence. Number two, Berkeley insisted that the character of the world as we experience it depends so much upon the mind that there is no thing that exists without perceiving it. So sa akong gikaingon ganina, kung wala kay knowledge, dili ka mag-exist. It's because if you cannot think it, therefore, it will not exist. Now, how about if we synthesize the implication of idealism in education? Now, in idealism, it one of its aim is to discover and develop each individual's abilities and full moral excellence in order to better serve the society. Now, we have here the different teaching method, the idealist methodology. Number one, we have the teaching method. The lectures followed by reaction, writing, rote memorization, and assigned reading. Learners listen to the instruction of the teacher and perform individual tasks. Idealists assert that to develop spiritual values in the individual's pursuit of highest ideals, namely truth, beauty, and goodness, should be encouraged more and more. The more an individual realizes these ideals, the more spiritually developed he will become. Number two, idealism also cultivates the basic skills of literacy, numeracy, and civility that prepares a person to more advanced learning. Idealism also prepares an individual for a holy life. Probel says that the object of education is the realization of a faithful, pure, inviolable, and hence holy life. According also to Proibel, that the school is a garden, and the teacher is a cautious gardener, and the child is a tender plant. The plant can grow, no doubt, without the help, but the good gardener sees that the plant grows to the finest possible perfecter. Now, let's proceed to another foundation of education, which is the realism. Realism, the term realism comes from the Latin realist, who is to be really, really real. Realism refers to the things exist whether or not the human mind perceives them. So, di ba, lahi siya dito sa idealism. It's because kung dili nimo mahuna-hunaan, therefore, ang isa ka butang dili mag-exist. Pero there is a realism, whether mag-exist pa na or wala, naa na siya. Now, let's proceed. Let's discuss the scholastic realism. It started when medieval thinkers wanted to bring together a relation between faith, the Christian theology, and reason, the classical philosophy. So, duha. Sa scholastic realism, ang gusto nilang i-bring out is the faith and reason. It was Saint Thomas Aquinas who wrote the Summa Theologica, used philosophy to help explain the doctrine and mysteries of the church. Now, the characteristics of scholastic realism, it relies on the authorities from the past, synthesizing of knowledge, deductive approach to reasoning, and use of syllogistic logic. Scholastic schools had two methods of teaching. Number one, we have the lectio or the simple reading of a text by a teacher. No questions were permitted. So, mana siya, una is the lecture. Number two is the disputatio, where questions to be disputed was announced beforehand. Education is the process by which he lifts himself up to the eternal. So that ends my report. So sa scholastic realism, it only proves that the school is a place where the capacities of logical thinking, reasoning, and evaluating of child and progressively sublimated and developed by the teachers and the school's environment. The students in the idealistic setup are expected to be truth seekers as they study the subject that bring out critical thinking, and as well as the realism. So that ends my report this morning. Have a blessed day. God bless everyone.